Hello there. Today, we're going to talk about something that, well, it quietly gets to so many of us, and that's the act of comparison. It's the subtle little habit that can really have a huge impact on our inner peace, on our contentment. So let's just gently dive in and explore how we can protect our own sense of joy. You've probably heard this before. Comparison is the thief of joy. It's this simple, powerful idea, often credited to Theodore Roosevelt, and it's really going to be our guide today. It's just a reminder that real joy, well, that's an inside job. It comes from within, not from sizing up our lives against everyone else's. And that really is the million-dollar question, isn't it? I mean, we live in a world of endless scrolling. We're constantly seeing pictures and stories from other people's lives. So how are we supposed to navigate all of this modern world without letting it steal our happiness? Let's figure that out together. Okay, so let's get right into it with our first section, the comparison trap. Because, to understand how to get out of it, we first have to see why it's just so darn easy to fall into, especially today. The thing is, we're surrounded by these carefully curated versions of life. Every single time you scroll, you're seeing a stream of perfectly picked, perfectly edited, perfectly filtered moments from other people's lives. What we're seeing is always a highlight reel. It's just a collection of the shiniest, most successful moments that people choose to share. And that's the key right there. It's never, ever the whole story. And this is where that gap just becomes so obvious. We see the career promotions, right? But we don't see the years of struggle or the late nights behind them. We see the amazing vacations, but not the failures or the sacrifices it took to get there. We see what look like perfect relationships and flawless selfies, but we don't see the insecurities or just the messy, simple reality of everyday life that, believe me, everyone has. And that skewed picture can make our own lives feel like they're just not measuring up. So let's talk about where this leads. Let's look at the hidden cost, because this habit of constantly comparing, it doesn't just feel bad for a second, it actually carries a really big price for our long-term well-being. When we get stuck in that comparison loop, it can kick up these persistent feelings of envy for what other people have. It can create this deep sense of inadequacy, making us feel like we're not smart enough, or successful enough, or just not enough. And over time, that really chips away at our self-esteem. It also distracts us from our own path, from our own growth. And maybe the worst part, it shifts our focus from being grateful for what we do have to this constant nagging feeling of longing for what we don't. And that's exactly why it's a trap, because it is a complete lose-lose situation. It doesn't matter if we decide we're better or worse than someone else. The very act of comparing pulls us away from what actually matters: our own journey, our own progress, our own peace. So how do we find our way out? Well, that brings us right here: reclaiming your joy. And the good news, and there is good news, is that we can absolutely break this habit. This isn't about being perfect. It's about finding a gentle, doable path back to ourselves. So let's just explore a few mindful practices to help us do that. It really all starts with just shifting our perspective a little bit, focusing on our own progress, practicing gratitude, maybe being a little more mindful of our scrolling, and then finally, just embracing the beautiful uniqueness of our own path. Let's look a little closer at that first one. So instead of looking sideways at what other people are doing, what if we just looked backward at who we used to be? Are you learning things? Are you growing? Are you taking tiny steps towards your own goals? Celebrating those personal wins, no matter how small they seem, is such a powerful way to build a real, authentic sense of self. And this flows so nicely into gratitude, which really is the perfect antidote to comparison. It's a conscious practice, right? It's about deliberately shifting our focus away from that feeling of I don't have enough, and instead turning toward an appreciation for our own life, just as it is, with all of its beautiful imperfections. And when you start doing these things, looking inward, being grateful, it brings us to this final, really freeing idea: finding true freedom by just accepting and honoring your own unique path. This is so important to remember. Everybody's journey is different. There is no right or wrong timeline for when you're supposed to hit certain milestones in life. Your path is yours, and yours alone. Embracing your own timing, that's a huge key to finding real contentment. So if there's one thought to really take away from all this, let it be this one: the goal is not a competition. It is not about being better than anyone else. It's about personal evolution. It's about striving to become the best possible version of yourself. Real joy is found right there, inside, not by measuring up to somebody else's life on the outside. So I'll just leave you with this little thought to carry with you. What's one small thing, just one, that you can do today to honor your own path? Thanks so much for taking this time for yourself.